day, somebody was actually asking me, how would I categorize and contextualize the time we're living in right now? And I was like, what? But actually, it's a very thought-provoking question, because I think one of the things that's most striking to me about the present time is there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of anxiety. There's a sense of, I don't know, can I keep up? The world is changing faster. There's, endless talk about is AI taking over and so forth. But actually, one of the things that's really very clear to me is how important having an advantage is, and every person I know has one because they have a human nervous system. Now, I'm not being flip about this. There is a real human advantage by virtue of being able to do what a human nervous system can do, as no other can. And if you're in any doubt about this, I just think about examples such as I've seen my entire career, which is people, for example, will seek promotion, but unless they have the requisite skills that go with that promotion, they can be promoted beyond their level of competence. And indeed, there's a whole area known as the Peter Principle, which is alluding to precisely this phenomenon. But what's really important often is not that people lack technical skills, it's rather that the further up the food chain people go, the more profoundly important it is that you can engage effectively with human beings, because you need to be able to influence them, to be able to lead to them. And as you're a human being yourself, of course, it actually starts with yourself. And I think this is underestimated in the present oh, excitement and discombobulation around, especially AI. But what is it to be thriving? I think this is something which really matters at any time. And if there are really tough things going on, it's especially important to be clear. To take one example, being present. That really matters. Why? Because if you can be present, you will have more presence. And if you have presence, you have a degree of credibility. You might use different words, gravitas, for example. And it really does matter in many different ways. It's not just, an enabling traits to develop in my business career. Imagine being a parent. Imagine being a parent with young children at a time when where you're living is involved in some kind of struggle that equates to war. What is the power of presence as a parent in times of war? Profound, that's what it is, because it means that you can reassure children and be able to model a way of engaging with the reality that is being addressed, but at the same time, being able to see a way of both being together and being together going forward, and how to respond to what may be previously unexperienced events, new kinds of challenges. It's actually why I was moved to write something for somebody I know who's in just that situation with young children. That's the human advantage. Now, you could say, well, human beings, they're the ones who create the war in the first place. That is true. But how are we going to deal with the challenges that we face, which may be not as profound? We're going to need to know, how can we rise to the occasion? And that's kind of why I feel moved to start this newsletter. How can we begin to do what's needed so that we can be resourceful for others, but first we can be resourceful in ourselves? And I think there's a lot we can do, because if we can do it well, it means that the life we're living is going to be one that is richer, not just for us, but for others. And I'd really like to contribute, if I think I can, to fostering a life well lived. And on that basis, so much to explore. I'm looking forward to sharing a lot.